Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, people on YouTube. And welcome back to William in Japan. Today we have a treat for us all. This is the Panigale V4. Not the R version, not the S version, but the good old Panigale. So why are we on this bike today, you may ask? Well, my dealer, which is called Ducati Tokyo Ulta, is now running the Panigale and Scrambler Week. And they are welcoming everyone that is interested in getting into the ownership of the Panigale family or the Scrambler family to test out their rides. I first went down there just to check out a Scrambler, but hey, I have never rode one of these monsters before, so why not give it a try? And that is the very reason why we are on the Panigale V4 right now. So first of all, first impressions. Well, I have been riding on this bike for the past around 40 minutes, and what I can say compared with my Super Sport, very obviously, it is the Ergonomoics. The ergos here are way more committed, and of course, this bike is meant to be used on competitive scenes on the track, or even racing in the WSBK. Oh, my apologies, WSBK should be the R version, but anyways, it is a full-bred sports bike. It is meant to be used on the track. And of course, we have proper clip-ons that are under the triple tree, unlike my Super Sport, which is over it. And there are of course no risers. And the seat is way more hard than my bike in that comparison. And after around 30 to 40 minutes of riding, I am very glad to report that my neck is already aching. Since I am so crouched over this bike at the moment, I have to pick up my head all the time with the weight of this helmet so I can see in front of me. And since we are on city streets and stop and go traffic basically, that is very hard on my neck. But on the good side, this bike is way wider than my bike. Of course, it is a 4-cylinder. It should have twice the width if we are using the same engine. Of course it's not. And thankfully to that, I have a wider fuel tank as well, which gives me a very good place to put my thighs around. I can hug the tank really well with my thighs and engage my core, so my body won't be moving forward and back during acceleration and braking. Therefore, my hands, my wrists are actually pretty good right now. No aches at the moment, and I can control my throttle really easily without my body weight weighing over it. So yeah, as of the lower half of my body, I don't feel much of a stress at the moment. Yes, the foot pegs are higher than mine, but I don't find them annoying, and I think I can have a pretty decent ride for over 2 hours on this bike. Disregarding the ache of my neck. And that's about it. Ergo-wise, I don't think it is as extreme as I imagined it would be. In the past, I did ride the S1000RR. Unfortunately, I didn't make a video of it. The riding position compared to that bike, this bike is more committed. In the way with its shorter fuel tank and lower clip-ons. So I feel more crouched over the bike, in which the S1000RR gives you a tiny bit, I guess, of sitting in the bike. But again, the seat position is already very high on that bike as well. So both bikes are committed, but comparing these two committed bikes, this one is a bit more taxing on my body, if I may put it. Alright, done with the ergos. What else do I find different about my Super Sport? Well, of course, this is, again, a full-bred sports bike. So it has the 1100cc Desmo Sedici engine in it right now. And since it is a V4, the vibration, the trembling of the engine is actually pretty different compared to my bike. And of course, I'm not sure if this is picked up on the mic, but the engine responds way faster as well. There is really not much of a lag between my throttle and the engine revs. And I really like a good responsive engine. On my Super Sport, I have to turn it to the highest performance setting on the engine map in order to get somewhat similar performance. But on the Panigale V4, I am in sport mode on default setting as well. I have not changed any of the parameters at the moment. And it gives me already a very, very great throttle response, which, no surprise, should be the case. And what else is on what I found different? Oh yes, back to the vibrations. Since this is a V4, I do feel it is way more smoother than my bike, which is pretty not expected. I thought race bikes will be more brutal and more, let's say, unpolished, since they are meant to be going fast instead of being comfortable. But as a matter of fact, this throttle response combined with the vibrations is actually way more smoother than what I have on the Super Sport. I feel way more, I can't say comfortable, but at least unannoyed by the jerkiness, lack of jerkiness of this bike, which is a great thing. I have never thought a super bike like this, a full-bred super bike like this, can be as comfortable as it can be right now. Modern bikes are just astonishing. Right, so done with the engine and done with the ergos. What else do I find is bad or good with this bike? Well, heat, it is a Ducati and it is a V4. There'll always be heat, so let's skip that. And what else can I say? It is just a monster. I have barely used 20% of its throttle, and I am already having enough power, of course, on the street. These bikes are never meant to be used here, but since it is a road bike after all, it has winkers, it has a front headlight, people will ride these on the street. And frankly speaking, I'll never leave third gear at most. Even on a highway, I don't think I'll leave fourth gear. Maybe if I save some fuel, I'll get to 6, but what's the point? You never need that much power. This is just a monster, incredible. Alright, we're going to merge on a bit faster street when we turn right here. So let's give it a little more gas. Not go to jail speed, of course. And since we do have a little snow, not sure if you can see on the sidewalk over there, we had snow for the past, 2 days ago. Most of it has melted, but unfortunately most of them turned to ice right now, what's left of it. So let's be a bit more careful when we give it a little beans. Oh god, this engine is just so loud. And the response is just so good. Oh yes, speaking of that, let's give it a little beans first. God, that was just first gear. I don't understand who will need more than that on the street. You will be breaking speed limits left, right, and center. Alright, since we just took that right turn, I forgot to mention how it feels when you tip this bike. So as I mentioned a bit earlier, this bike is way more shorter in length from my Super Sport. I feel the tank is way shorter, so my reach to the clip-ons are closer than the Super Sport as well. Plus, I believe the wheelbase is way shorter as well. So when you're tipping this bike into a curve, it is way more lighter, way effortless compared to the Super Sport I have. And that's pretty incredible since this also is a V4 engine, so it's in a V configuration anyways. I thought the motorcycle will be a bit longer than compared, let's say, inline fours. But that's not the case. This bike is so compact that when tipping in corners, it is so light. And I don't feel that much of input I need to do when I want to move the bike from side to side. Which is really incredible. Thinking it weighs more, and it has 4 cylinders. Like, oh, I'm just out of words here. These bikes are just out of my league. I could never bring out whatever it can do. Less than 30-20%. By not going to a track, I don't think anybody could do that on the road safely anyways. Which, in the end, I don't think that's the right thing to do. Oh, and let's talk a bit about the Quickshifter and the brakes. Since I did mention before, I really like Ducati's Quickshifter on my Supersport. But somehow, this Quickshifter on the Panigale feels really different. It gives you a mushy feel on the foot levers, foot pegs. When I press down to downshift or pull up to upshift, it gives you this mushy feeling that I don't have on my Supersport. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I do like more tactile feedback on my switch levers or foot pegs. Like when I'm putting inputs, I would like to know when it gives you a good, nice, solid click feedback that I am in gear or I have pushed a button or I pulled a lever. But unfortunately, this Quickshifter is a bit mushy. But contrary to the feedback it gives, the auto blipper and the quick shift, when they're matching the revs automatically, it is way smoother than my Supersport is. I don't feel any herky-jerkiness when it is downshifting or upshifting, and it's just a peach to use. It's incredible. And we're at 5th gear, 3,000 RPM. I can up shear to 6, no problem at all. Of course, these gear ratios are overlapping a lot, but just shifting like this, it's just so smooth. It's incredible. Like Ducati did a great job of rev matching this machine. Like, oh, this might be the best Quickshifter I ever used so far. Just the tactile feedback, which I am not a big fan of, but it may be more suitable for racing, I guess. I have no idea. I'm speaking out of nowhere right now, so correct me if I am wrong. And finally, on the brakes. Front brakes is Brembo M50 Stylema calipers. Nothing you should complain about. It is just perfect. Brembo master cylinder as well, and it just feels great. However, on the rear brake, I don't know what's this with Ducati Superbikes. I had this feeling when I rode an older version of the Super Sport, so the 2017 model year Super Sport 4, and same with this Panigale as well. Their rear brakes just gives you a mushy feeling. I don't know why. It's just like I'm stepping on sponge or something. It's just a smudgy feeling. Yes, it brakes, it works. It's not like it's not working. We are slowing down. Not by a lot, but we are. So, the brake is working as intended, but it just gives you such a mushy feeling on the feedback. But that does not happen on my 2021 Supersport. So, I'm not sure if that's something they fixed, or it's just a component they are using. And just to correct myself, oh yeah, okay, no problem. They are Stylema calipers, so even if you don't have the S version, they use the top-of-the-line Brembo calipers here, so no problem in there at all. So, just minus the Öhlins electronics, forks and shocks, I think this bike, there's not much off with the S version there. Maybe some carbon fiber here and there, some more better plastic, but mechanical-wise, this engine does everything the S version can do too. But comfort-wise, as a road bike, thinking about it, having the S version's Öhlins electronical suspension system might actually help a lot. Since this bike is on mechanical forks right now, I cannot adjust it on the fly. And I'm not sure if someone has played with it before. It seems like there was. It is pretty firm for my liking. And going over bumps and these ceiling points on the bridge, we are jumping off our seat. I'm not sure if you can hear it through my voice, but hell, this is an uncomfortable suspension setup. So I would really like to back it off. So if I have the S version here, I can do it on the fly through its electronical settings. But unfortunately, we are on the normal version, so no can do there. And it is a really, really firm ride. So, anything else? But I think that's all about it. This is a monster. I don't know how much time I need to repeat that to myself, but it is just a monster in my opinion. I can never use all of the power, nor will I ever need them. If someday I head to the track, I still won't need this because I cannot extract any of the potential it has. It is just way too fast and I cannot brake, I cannot turn as hard as it asks me to do. So this is not a bike for me, but it's definitely a halo bike that everyone should try out in their time as a motorcyclist. It is such a fun ride. It may not be your bike, but it is the bike you should try out. I think that's all I have for you guys today. It has been a privilege to try out this Panigale V4. And hopefully, maybe in the future, we can try out the R or S version. Alright you guys, this has been William. And thank you for joining me today. See you next time. Bye-bye.